I bet you've never seen such a strange organization, where believers study intimacy every day and engage in intimate interactions with different people. In less than a week, the number of believers has expanded to more than 10,000. And surprisingly, the leader of this organization is actually a sexy and cute girl. How exactly was the organization born? Let's start with the experience of the male protagonist Yukito not long ago. In the previous story, Yukito and the isolated villagers were about to be killed by Adder, the archon sent by the king, for breaking the laws set by the king. At the critical moment, a villager clan transformed into a girl, Loki, defeating Adder with great strength and saving Yukito. Loki then comes to Yukito and asks him if he wants to kill the king. Hearing Loki's words, everyone is shocked and feels unbelievable, so she says, I will kill the emperor immediately. When Adder hears this, she is furious, thinking Loki has defected, and then she attacks Loki. The next moment, Loki instantly moves behind Adder and pierces Adder's body with a sharp blade. Just when Adder thinks she is about to die, Loki snaps her fingers, and the scene changes immediately. Adder is not injured, but her hands are tied. It turns out that everything just now was an illusion cast by Loki. After that, Loki says she will take everyone on the spot to the Imperial Palace. Loki is very powerful. Though Yukito doesn't know what Loki wants to do, he can only go to the palace according to Loki's wish. With the archon Loki leading the way, they aren't stopped by soldiers, and soon they meet the supreme emperor of this world. When Adder sees the emperor, she quickly kneels down and asks for forgiveness for failing to wipe out the isolation camp. The emperor does not blame Adder, saying that he has long predicted it. The emperor behaves very wisely, and he seems to be able to see through people's hearts. He mocks Yukito for the foolishness of creating a religion for people to believe in gods, and he has seen countless nations fight for gods and eventually perish. Just when Yukito feels shocked that the emperor knows about the gods, there is a loud noise next to him. Mitama destroys a machine in the palace, and then says, I think this machine is the one that makes all of you very strange. The next moment, the emperor, who was originally sitting on the throne, turns into a skeleton, and all the soldiers guarding around disappear. Under Loki's explanation, they finally know what happened. It turns out that everything they saw just now was an illusion created by the machine in the palace. As for Mitama, she can be not affected by the illusion because she is a god. The emperor died a long time ago, and the machine in the palace not only created illusions, but can also independently analyze the country's economy, population growth and decline, and natural phenomena, and then deal with it and explain it properly. For hundreds of years, the machines inside the palace have been controlling all manner of things in this country. To put it simply, the machines are a bit like the AI in modern times. These machines can always work out the best plan to manage the country, including working out the end-of-life system to keep the population in balance. Yukito really can't understand why this world is so technologically advanced. Seeing Yukito so distressed, Mitama tells him the truth she knows. It turns out that the human civilization of this world has been destroyed once, and among the surviving people, there is an organization that eliminated all belief in the gods, and then used science and technology to create this country that will never perish. Perhaps only by truly governing the country in a machine way can human beings live forever. As for why Mitama is so aware of everything here, it is because this world is not an isekai at all, but the future Earth. Before his death, Yukito made a wish to go to a world without gods. After hearing Yukito's wish, Mitama used her divine power to see the future, and finally discovered this human civilization without gods tens of thousands of years later on Earth. That's why Yukito was brought here. Yukito is a little devastated when he learns the truth, and he can't imagine that the era he lived in has disappeared from history. Ignoring Mitama's explanation, Loki begins to persuade Mitama to destroy all the machines in the palace so that the Imperial City will no longer exist and the isolation camp doesn't need to worry about the revenge from the Imperial City. At this moment, Yukito suddenly attacks Loki, and Loki, who is very powerful, is easily subdued by Yukito. It turns out that Loki's constant persuasion of Mitama to destroy the machines arouses Yukito's suspicions. Loki is very powerful, so why she doesn't take action herself but asks Mitama to destroy the machines? Yukito guesses that there should be some kind of machines that limit Loki's strength in the palace, and now it seems that he guesses right. He then presses Loki about her purpose and why she is destroying the country. With Loki's explanation, her past is slowly revealed. Loki grew up in this country full of rules, and she witnessed her father undergoing the end of life. Only seconds passed when her father's life was taken away, and people around only showed indifference. In Loki's opinion, even weak bugs have a strong desire to survive, and she cannot understand the human behavior of gladly accepting death. She began to hate the country full of rules and wonder why the emperor had created such a country. After becoming an archon, she accidentally came across information about ancient civilizations. At that time, humans were not dominated by machines and lived according to their own ideas. They believed in the existence of gods, and the strangest thing was was that the names of those gods were exactly the same as those of the archons, including her name Loki. She didn't understand all this, and often entered the nearby isolation camp disguised as villager Klen when she was distressed because there are no rules in this village, and the people here live very freely. She thought she would live like this forever until Yakido appeared in the village. Loki discovered that Yakido has knowledge that ordinary people do not have, and that he knows about the existence of gods. Since then, she has often stayed in the village, and during this time, she witnessed the appearance of Mitama and the new machines that Yakido brought to the villagers, which helped the village grow. She learned about the gods from Yakido, and knew that the more followers the gods have, the stronger the power of the gods will be. During then, there was a very interesting incident. Yakido discovered Mitama had more and more followers, and he decided to formulate a doctrine, which was things the organization aims to do or things all followers have to believe. Roy proposed the cloth that covers women's bodies be under 10% of their body's surface area. In this way, women could be sexy, and there would be less laundry to do. In the end, he was beaten up by Siluril. Then, Siluril also offered her ideas for the doctrine. That was, her sister was the cutest in the country, and enjoy the wine. Yakido was very troubled to see people propose all kinds of strange doctrines. And finally, it was Klen's doctrine of live freely that was adopted by Yakido, who was very satisfied with Klen's doctrine and praised him before leaving. "You are the most trustworthy person in the village." This made Mitama jealous. She reminded Klen not to be tempted by Yakido because of his praise, and that Yakido is her follower. Loki was surprised to find that Mitama was undisturbed by her power and could tell that she is a woman. It was also from that time that Loki had plans to bring Mitama into the palace to destroy the machines. Later, Loki conducted an experiment in which she made 10 villagers see the illusions in the next village, eventually making them her followers. To her surprise, her strength increased a lot. Loki guessed that the archons were an imitation of gods, and it was normal to have gods' abilities. Knowing this, she wants to become a true god and destroy this country full of rules and restrictions, and make the world get back its original freedom. Loki tells everyone on the spot that she has told the other archons that she is going to destroy the palace, and none of the archons came out against it. That is to say, these archons are also tired of the world and want to recruit followers and become true gods. After listening to Loki's story, Yakido thinks for a moment and finally agrees with Loki's idea of destroying the Imperial City. In his opinion, if the Imperial City still exists, the villagers can't get rid of being killed. Under Yakito's order, Mitama unleashes her divine power and completely destroys the palace. Loki is very excited. The destruction of the Imperial City means the arrival of a new era of gods. She asks Yakido what he is going to do next, and Yakido, touching Mitama's head, says, "Only Mitama is the real god, and all of you are fakes." He will continue recruiting followers for Mitama to fight against these archons. Since then, the Imperial City that rules this country for countless years has completely disappeared. At night, villagers are celebrating that there will be no end-of-life system anymore, and they don't need to be afraid of the terrifying Imperial City. Only Yakido knows that the real crisis has just begun. After her last drink, Loki is about to leave. Perhaps when she meets Yakido again, they will become enemies. Hearing that Loki will return to the Imperial City, Bertrand quickly catches up with her, because she doesn't want Loki to do whatever she wants in the chaotic Imperial City. Loki is gone, but Adder stays, who is losing faith because of the destruction of Imperial City. Just as Adder is in despair, Yakido comforts her that he will help her defeat other archons, and that by gathering the power of other archons, he may be able to revive the council of the Imperial City. Adder is curious as to why Yakido is willing to help her. Yakido tells Adder that he is sad to see children like Adder crying. Immediately afterwards, he personally feeds Adder ice cream, and it is the first time that Adder has eaten such delicious food. Adder is conquered by the delicious food and the gentle boy, which is also an important part of Yakito's next plan. Soon after, he announces to the villagers that their religion will implement a two-god system, and Adder will be the new god. Adder's adorable appearance soon attracts the worship of the villagers, and Adder is surprised to find that her power, which was originally unavailable due to the disappearance of the Imperial City, is now available again. After that, Adder gradually integrates into this group. Under Yakito's arrangement, Adder and Mitama start to help the villagers of other isolation camps to eliminate monsters, and bring them to try the delicious food and high-tech tools in their village. Soon, they attract a large group of followers, and now there are more than 6,000 followers in total. Interestingly, Adder has more followers than Mitama, which makes the latter a bit angry. While they are frantically increasing the number of followers, other archons also take action. Yakido receives news that a nearby archon named Dakini has established a new religion with more than 10,000 followers. In order to eliminate the potential threat, Yakido decides to sneak inside the enemy and destroy it. So Yakido selects Roy, Mitama, and Alara to participate in the plan. After they make a plan and come to the stronghold of Dakini's religion, they are very shocked. Every follower here is discussing sex, such as how many people they slept with yesterday and how many special postures they used. No wonder this religion can attract more than 10,000 followers in such a short time. Yukido and his companions are greeted by a girl with glasses named Rish. She is one of the administrators here, and the followers here adore Rish, who seems to have very good sex skills. After hearing that 4 new followers have arrived, Rish asks Yukido and his companions to be divided into 2 groups, each of which contains a male and a female, to see Dakini respectively. Yukido and Alara are in a group, while Roy and Mitama are in another one, and they are taken to different rooms. Not long after, Yukido sees Dakini, who is a cute girl with a sexy body. Hearing that Yukido wants to join her religion, she tells him that based on their doctrine, they are allowed to release their desire at any time, and then she leaves. The next moment, Yukido and Alara suddenly feel very hot, and a strange feeling fills their bodies. Alara throws herself on Yukido, saying that she is going to do something shy with him. It seems that they are spiritually controlled by Dakini's power. Just when the two are about to lose control, Roy suddenly is beaten away from next door. It turns out that just now Roy was also influenced by Dakini's power and wanted to have intimate interactions with Mitama, but fortunately, Mitama is a true god and is immune to Dakini's mind control, and she directly beats Roy away. After that, everyone calms down. Just then, Rish hears the noise and rushes over to check, and Yukido quickly holds Rish down and tells her not to reveal everything she saw. Strangely, Rish suddenly begins to imagine Yukido humiliating her, and then wets the ground after feeling great pleasure, which might also be related to Dakini's power. Rish is very desperate, claiming herself to be a virgin. She asks them how they can be immune to Dakini's power, and when hearing that Mitama claims to be a true god, Rish immediately kneels down and prays to Mitama to help her destroy the religion. It seems that there is another reason why Rish joined this religion. Under Rish's explanation, everyone finally knows the reason why Rish is so well versed in intimate interactions. It is not because she is experienced, but because she used to like to read forbidden books, from which she learned a lot of knowledge. After telling some relevant knowledge to other believers, she is mistaken for a horny girl by them. She doesn't want to be surrounded by these perverts every day, and she keeps thinking of leaving this organization. That's why she begs Yukido to destroy it. Yukido thinks that if he can use the important roles of this organization, he will be able to achieve his goals more easily. Just as Yukido is thinking about what to do, Mitama finds that the number of her followers is decreasing. It turns out that when she is not in the village, Adder helps the villagers defeat many monsters, so the followers who believe in Mitama turn to Adder. Yukido has long predicted this. When the god leaves the place she is protecting, her followers will be easily attracted to other gods. The most important thing now is to quickly destroy Dakini's organization, and Yukido has a plan. He first asks Rish to use her status as an important role in the organization to help them gain the trust of other members. Dakini often goes to other strongholds of the organization for the edification of the followers, so Yukido intends to do something during Dakini's absence. A few days passed, and Dakini has been recruiting followers in a nearby village, but she finds that although the number of followers is increasing, her divine power has not increased much. Just then, several followers recommend some items used for intimacy to Dakini, which are said to be able to bring more joy to their activities. Dakini finds that she has never seen these things and quickly asks about how they got it. When she learns that it was Rish who offered it to the followers, Dakini seems to have guessed something. At this moment, Rish is teaching many followers about the knowledge and items of intimate interactions for free. The followers seem to enter a new world, and they worship Rish more and more. This is why Dakini's divine power hasn't improved, as many followers now turn to Rish. These are the plans of Yukido, who asks Mitama to use her divine powers to create many of the items used for intimacy on Earth, and also teaches Rish modern knowledge about intimate interactions. Followers are more easily influenced by the people who teach them, and he wants to use this to get Rish to snatch Dakini's followers. When Dakini returns and discovers Rish's actions, she finally realizes that the reason why her power has not increased lately is that Rish is snatching her followers. She dismisses Rish's behavior as a rebellion, so she arrests Rish and Yukido, who instigates Rish. Interestingly, Roy, who left not long ago, is now a faithful follower in Dakini, because Dakini told Roy that even without a partner, it was also a wonderful experience to play with his right hand. Brainwashed by Dakini, Roy is completely conquered. Soon, Rish is taken to the execution ground, and Dakini is going to punish the betrayer in front of the followers. But this time she makes a mistake. Rish cries loudly, saying that she did all this because she wants to help Dakini with the edification of the followers, so that they can better understand Dakini's ideas, and that she never has any idea of betraying Dakini. If Dakini does not believe in her, she would rather die. The followers watching nearby are so impressed by Rish's sincerity that they all begin to beg for mercy for her. All of this is Yakito's plan. Not long ago, Yakito made a plan to snatch the followers. He knows that this will absolutely be discovered by Dakini, and began to train Risha's acting skills. He wants these followers to believe that Rish is absolutely loyal. If Dakini is determined to punish Rish, she will lose the trust of many followers. Dakini notices Yakito's sneer and has already guessed that it is all Yakito's plan. She remembers that Loki told her that there was a human who would prevent the archons from establishing a religion, and Yakito is supposed to be this human. Dakini can't lose the trust of many followers, so she decides not to punish Rish for the time being and to imprison them instead. She thinks for a long time alone in her room. Though she likes Rish very much, she can't tolerate betrayal. So she sends her subordinates to eliminate these traitors secretly in prison. Since Mitama created many items and lost many followers before, she has almost no power left, and Yakito is in a very dangerous situation. We are now brought into Dakini's memory. She was created by the early royal family and born with the ability to awaken love. She thought the king was going to use her abilities to increase the population by growing people's desires. However, the king told her that she was not to awaken love, but to restrict human love. The royal family does not rely on pregnancy to have children, because they can breed humans artificially. Only when all humans no longer give birth to babies on their own can the royal family control population growth artificially, thus controlling the world. Since then, Dakini had been photographing humans every day with her cell phone-like tool. As long as humans were photographed, they would completely lose their desire for love as well as the ability to have intimate interactions. Thousands of years have passed, and humans have mutated to be a species without love or the ability to give birth. If this continued, Dakini would lose her significance of existence. So she compiled her knowledge about intimate interaction into books, hoping to awaken love hidden in humans' heart. However, humans who had lost the ability to have intimate interaction couldn't understand her books at all, and these books got banned later. Many more years passed, and Dakini found a girl named Toka, who liked these forbidden books very much. It turned out that Toka was a very rare person in this world, who could fall in love since birth. Dakini also liked Toka very much. The girl lived freely with love, unlike the humans who had lost their vitality and lived like robots. Toka was longing for giving birth to a child, and Dakini believed that it was what humans should be like. Dakini had always been with her growing up. However, the inhabitants of the city hated the girl so much that Toka was eventually banished to the isolation camp as an outlier. Since then, Dakini had never seen Toka. It turned out that these inhabitants were bred artificially, and they were afraid of Toka, who always wanted to give birth to children on her own. Years later, by the time Dakini heard from Toka again, she had been killed by the villagers. Dakini was very desperate and vowed to restore the world to its original state. She wants to create a world where humans can fall in love, start a family, and have children. As the memory ends, we're back to the prison where Yakito is kept. As the subordinates sent by Dakini are about to fight against Yakito, Adder along with Sayuro appears and rescues them. At this moment, the number of Adder's followers has increased to more than 6,000. All of this is Yakito's plan. He deliberately took Mitama away from the village, so that the villagers could be attracted to Adder, who is much stronger in the fight. Therefore, Adder will have more followers and gain more power from them. Then, it's time for the final attack on Dakini. They soon find where she is and launch an attack. At this moment, Dakini finds Rish holding a book in her hand, which used to be Toka's. Just as she is about to ask Rish where the book comes from, she is interrupted by Adder's attack. When Adder and Dakini are fighting, Rish performs other tasks with Mitama, but she is puzzled why Dakini said her mother's name just now. At this moment, the battle between Adder and Dakini has entered a climax, but everyone underestimates Dakini's strength. She has already absorbed more than 14,000 followers during the battle and knocks down Adder easily after transformation. Later, Dakini infects them with uncontrollable lust. As the three girls approach and hug Yakito tightly, the ground suddenly cracks and the tentacles of many plants stretch out to separate them. The next moment, Mitama and Rish show up. Just now, Rish told the believers in the organization that Mitama is the real god with advanced knowledge of intimate interactions, and she will not only teach everyone new knowledge, but also give believers more tools. With her prestige in the organization, Rish formed a new faction, which caused many followers of Dakini to turn to Mitama. Thus, Mitama once again gained powerful divine power. Dakini thought that losing some followers would not affect her combat power, only to find her abilities actually disappearing. It turns out that Mitama remembered that among the gods she knew, there was also a god named Dakini. She deduced that this Dakini was just the archon of this world who could only borrow her power from the real god. So she traveled to the world of the real god Dakini and begged her to reclaim the power of the archon. The real God also felt that the recent behavior of Archon Dakini in making the believers go on an intimacy spree was a bit excessive, so she promised Matama to temporarily withdraw Archon Dakini's divine powers. Therefore, even if the current Dakini has a large amount of believers, she cannot use divine power. Dakini finally realizes that something is wrong and tries to escape, but is stopped by Roy at the door. Not long ago in prison, Yukito handed Roy a note saying that as long as he helped the woman when she was in danger, he would win her heart. Roy has always liked Matama, so he believes that if he helps Matama stop Dakini, he will reap Matama's favor. While Roy stops Dakini, Adder attacks and completely defeats Dakini. Though defeated, Dakini still doesn't understand why would she, with such strong power, fail in the end. Yukito tells her that it is because she is always alone, while he has so many partners around. Then, Rish finally comes up and asks Dakini how she knew Toka's name, and Toka was her mother. Hearing this, Dakini is caught up in memories that Toka once told her that she wanted to find a man she loved, have a child of her own with him, and let the child become Dakini's best friend. Rish is the child of Toka and the man she loved. At this moment, Dakini awakens and starts her confession. She should not have made humans obsessed with physical pleasure and lose their thinking about love. She shouldn't have abused her abilities to get people caught up in the lust for intimacy. And it's not the world she wants. Up to now, Yukito has more and more partners around him. Most likely, Dakini will also be wooed into his team. In this way, Yukito will have 3 gods. I wonder which one you prefer. The petite and cute lowly Matama, the cold but beautiful Adder, or the sexy and passionate Dakini? Feel free to leave your answer in the comment area. Well, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this anime, give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video.